Now, we're used to your songs tackling the big issues, but Pass It On seems much more personal. What's the story behind it?
Well, I've always been interested in family history. I did a project when I was at school, encouraged by my father, to draw up a very rudimentary family tree when I was 11 or 12. And that kind of gave me an in the history of our family, because my father's aunt was still alive. She gave me stories right back to the 19th century. And the song kind of reflects that. Really, you know, if you want to have a sense of belonging, it helps to ask those people who know the stories of your family so that you can then pass them on. You know, I can talk to my son about the things that my dad's great aunt told me. I mean, you know, she was born in 1888. When I think about that now, at the time in the 1960s, I didn't really think that was a big deal, but now I realise what a big deal it was. So I think those things are important.
I've been thinking about this a lot recently, Billy, so I can't wait to take in the album. How do you initiate those conversations with your kids? I mean, I've got 3 boys. I'd have to get them off the PlayStation first. But like, how does that go? Do you kind of sit down? Do you open a bottle of wine or something? What do you do?
Well, you know, you kind of wait till they ask you a leading question. You know, the house that I grew up in, when my mum passed away, my brother inherited it. My nephew lives there now. And one day he said to me, Uncle Bill, who lived in the house before us? And that's a really interesting question, because we've lived in that same street in East London for 100 years, over 100 years now. But I did happen to know the story of how we came to be there. And I suppose really it's sort of, you'd be surprised how many people don't know stories about their grandparents, when their grandparents were born or where they were born. And so much of this stuff is online now. You can search it. And it is true. I mean, I say this and people don't believe it, but family history, genealogy, is the second most searched thing on the internet after pornography. And I'm sorry if your viewers didn't know. I'm sorry if your viewers didn't know there was pornography on the internet. I apologise if I've introduced that idea into Australia, but that's the truth. So, you know, I'm kind of, if you're going to choose a hobby, that seems a better one.
Sorry, which one? Oh, okay, sorry. I follow what you're saying now. I thought you were
family
history.
Family history.
You wrote this album during Britain's second lockdown. We've had 6 lockdowns here in Melbourne. Imagine the work you could have got done if you were here.
Exactly, yeah. But your lockdowns are a bit shorter and more local than ours are. Ours are kind of like long blanket lockdowns where everything in the entire world stops. So that's the second one. The first lockdown, I was really busy because I got into that whole connection with people on the internet. I was doing loads of stuff. But I thought it'd be all over by summer and we'd all be off to Glastonbury. But when that didn't happen, and the second lockdown came in, and my Australian tour dates, which had already been postponed once, got postponed again for another year, then I started to think, wow, this is, you know, I needed something to focus on.
And Billy, you've recently been quoted as saying that there's not much ideology in politics anymore. Have you been surprised at what you've seen politically in reaction to the pandemic?
Not really, no, because I think what the pandemic has revealed is that the great political struggles of the modern era are really a fight between individual freedom and the notion of the common good. Those people who are against the whole idea of mask mandates, I do have a problem with them, because I think most of the time we can lean towards individual freedom. I'm totally in favour of that. But when we're facing something as serious as this, we have to lean the other way towards the common good and ask people to take responsibility for their actions.
What's interesting about that is it sort of cuts diagonally across politics as we usually think of it. Like it's not quite a left-right division in a neat way. And I'm really interested.
Is it not? Do you not? Is that true, Wally? You know, yeah. When people have a go at me online because I'm double vaxxed and I'm in favour of the mask mandate, and although I don't think it should be mandated, I do think people should be vaccinated. And people say to me online, "Oh, you know, 1980s Billy Bragg wouldn't believe you were saying this." Well, let me just remind you that Margaret Thatcher's most famous saying was, "There is no such thing as society. There are only individuals and families." Now, those people who are refusing to wear masks because they believe in their individual freedom, they're more or less saying that. I don't believe in society. I don't care what everyone else thinks. It's just all about me. Whereas I've always been on the side of that broad idea of the common good. And I think if socialism is about anything, it's about responsibility, it's about accountability, and it's about compassion.
Billy, we could chat to you for hours, but unfortunately we can't right now. So,
well, that's a shame.
So much.
Hopefully I'll get over to see you next year. Hopefully we'll be able to have see how things have gone on since then.
We would love that. Billy's new single, Pass It On, is fabulous and it's out now. Billy Bragg, it's always great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Lisa.
Oh, Billy, are you Googling anything else, by the way?
Yeah, I'll Google all sorts of things. I Googled the Australian riots this morning to have a quick look at those, to see what's going on over there, to see how you. I just caught a headline from the weekend that you had some demos, and you see those people out on the streets demonstrating with their high-vis jackets on. Try and imagine how many people there are at home who are immune compromised, who can't go out on the streets because of pig-headedness like that. Those people, they're the majority, not those people out on the streets making a row.
Billy, did you happen to hear the question to Gillian Anderson at the Emmys whether she had been in touch with Margaret Thatcher about her role as Margaret Thatcher?
Yeah. Yeah, well, table tapping has always been popular among the Hollywood content.
Thanks, Billy.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Best post-interview we've ever done, I reckon.